The Poundcast is in part sponsored by Trade Coffee.
Trade is the easiest way to get your very best tasting coffee delivered fresh when you need it.
You have nothing to lose because Trade guarantees you will love your first bag. If not, they'll work with you to replace it for free.
So if you want to support small businesses and brew the best cup of coffee you've ever made at home, it's time to try Trade Coffee.
Right now, Trade is offering our listeners a total of $30 off your first order plus free shipping at drinktrade.com/poundcast.
That's drinktrade.com/poundcast for 30% off your subscription to the best coffees in the country. I subscribed and I'm drinking Trade and I love it.
And now the Poundcast is also sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp is easy and affordable online therapy.
When you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/poundcast today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/poundcast.
You got it. And thirdly, the Poundcast is sponsored by Louisville Vegan Jerky.
LouisvilleVeganFoods.com is where you can go to get Louisville Vegan Jerky. And when you go there and use the code word Poundcast, you're going to get 20% off your entire order. Louisville Vegan Jerky is the best, tastiest jerky on earth, and it is plant-based. And it has a shelf life of 9 months.
9 months?
You're never going to need those 9 months because you're going to want to eat it the second you get it.
You'll never make it to 9 months.
You're never going to make it to 9.
Trust me.
You're not going to make it to 9.
Yeah.
LouisvilleVeganFoods.com. Use the code word Poundcast.
Yeah, try even making it 9 days.
10 days. You're not going to make it 10
9
days.
9 days. Okay, look, they've got flavors such as perfect pepperoni. They've got smoked black pepper. They have Carolina barbecue. They got buffalo dill. You name it, they've got it. You name the flavor, they've got it. Okay,
it's made in Louisville. It's bagged in Louisville. Bagged in the USA. You got to support our sponsors. They are wonderful sponsors. All three of them.
And but Louisville Vegan Foods definitely has it going on. You can get that stuff at Whole Foods or Sprouts or any kind of places like that, and other boutique shops. But go online. I mean, you get the 20% off, and you can't lose.
They got it going on.
What
else you got going on, Brent?
Well, we also, and finally, our other big sponsor comes from listeners and viewers like you. Okay? If you want to become a sponsor, it's not just sponsoring though, okay? It's a service. We have a Patreon account. It's called patreon.com/poundcast. And you get bonus content there. It's a subscription-based service where you become a Patreon member and you get an extra half hour to an hour of an episode, and we get into some stuff,
Yeah,
and
today on our bonus episode, which we now call Unzipped, we talk about nighttime boners, and
it's a lot of fun.
It's an issue for a lot of men out there, and we do talk about that amongst other things, other sensitive topics. And the only way to access that is going to patreon.com/poundcast. And when you do that, you'll get access to all the old After Darks and Unzipped, and you'll join the community, and you'll feel great about yourself that you're supporting us directly.
And it's funny stuff. And also, if you listen to this podcast for company, it's just extra company. If your commute is longer than an hour or whatever, this is going to help that commute.
This is going to help you out a lot.
You're going to like it. And there's some fun stuff and other little bonus things here and there sometimes. So check out patreon.com/poundcast. We are also on YouTube if you want to watch the episodes. It's, sometimes we make funny faces, not so much this episode, but it's
youtube.com/the
Poundcast. And
by the way, I forgot to remind the listeners and viewers that we have a voicemail, and it's 213-207-6952. If you want to call, leave us a voicemail. We do listen to the voicemails. We listened to a couple of them today. So call in and sound off, and we will play it on the show.
Yeah. Now, before we get to today's, and now most of this episode today, Doug talks a lot about his experience being on tour with Tenacious D. So that's the meat of the episode. We get into some voice messages
It's a big
later on.
Recap of my tour. I break it down.
An extended recap. And so we didn't, there's one announcement I was going to make during the episode that I didn't really get to. And I'm thinking maybe I'll just do it right now, make this kind of big announcement. It's not a happy announcement either.
Oh.
So before we launch into this episode, this will be sort of the pre-episode episode. I'll just get right to it.
Get right to it, Brent.
The Gangster Party Line is no more.
What? Why?
We lost the number after 8 years.
How did you lose
9 years? Wait, 9 years?
Did you forget to pay the?
There's no payment. It's just that Google, it's a Google Voice number, okay? Google Voice is cracking down on numbers, and if they are not used to make calls or send texts after a certain amount of time, then they'll give you a notice and say this line's going to expire due to inactivity. Even though we receive phone messages all the time, they're going to cut it out, or they're going to take it away. And then even after it expires, they give you actually have 45 days to try to get it back. But I just hadn't been checking the messages. I hadn't been logging into the account, and I didn't see the emails and saying that, and neither did my sort of partner in it. And we lost the number, and we can't get it back. And so it's sort of a sad thing, but we don't have the number anymore. And I don't know who's going to be able to have the number, because if you have that number, I mean, you're going to be bombarded with phone calls all the time. But not only did I lose the Gangster Party Line phone number, I also lost the phone number for every single one of those hotlines. So the Chili Busters, and even Chili Busters, the Dad line, the Hunk line, the Money line, Snoop line, all of it, it's gone. And and even I do this other podcast called the Legacy Music Hour. I also lost that number too. We had a number for that, and we'll probably lose this number too, the number you gave out at one point. But
all right. Anyway. Well, sorry you lost the number. But you know what? You don't need to hear those things for the rest of your life, do you?
Well,
all
no,
good things need to come to an end.
I mean, look, there's one way we might be able to try to get the number back, but no, I don't actually really care that much about most of those numbers, except for the Gangster Party Line number. That number had been working and taking calls for 9 years. Okay. And it does suck that it's gone, because that number, it's not like we can get a new number, because that video is so viral and people are always calling that number all the time that we kind of need that number. So there's one little thing that we can do that we can maybe try to get it back, but it's looking unlikely. But
well, good luck with that. I hope you get it back.
Hey, I just thought I'd make that announcement that the line is done. It's dead.
Stop calling. Maybe someone else will get that number, and their life will be ruined. They'll get 1,000 people.
That's what I said. I said that. That's what I just said. That number can never work for anybody else, because it would be unusable. They're going to get bombarded.
Okay.
Anyway, that's a little sad thing, though. The reason I want the number is because I can do things with that number still. Take calls and stuff.
I bet you can get it back. Call Mr. Google.
Does anybody know anybody at Google? Because that number is useless for anybody else. Does anyone know anybody at Google? I'm putting that out there. If anybody knows anyone,
I know someone at Google.
Yeah, maybe
my friend works at Google.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, talk to me after the show, and we'll.
I think I'm friends with him too. I think.
Yeah, right? You are.
I doubt he knows anybody who knows anyone at Google Voice, though. I need somebody. I don't know. I need somebody powerful.
Do we have a remix to play to get the show started?
Sure do.
Who is
Sure
it?
do. Let's see here. We have this is called Poundcast Remix number 2 by Jason Love. So Jason Love, I think, did one before. And so this is remix number 2 by Jason Love. So yeah, well, let's take a listen to that and we'll be on our little way here, huh?
All right, let's roll the clip and then we'll get on with the show.
Okay, let's roll the clip.
Roll the clip. Poundcast. Doug and Brent. Poundcast. Doug and Brent. Talking to each other. Doug and Brent. Talking to each other. Doug and Brent. Talk to some pimples. We'll talk to their friends. And Doug and Brent. What will they talk about today? Doug and Brent. Talking on the Poundcast. Doug and Brent. Poundcast. Hello, Brent. The show has begun.
Welcome back, Doug. This is a fresh feeling right now I'm having about you.
Oh, thank you, Brent. I'm feeling fresh. I survived the tour. It was quite a wild ride. And
was it wild?
Well, maybe it wasn't wild, but it was doing the performances were kind of they were intense. They were intense. You know?
Well, I guess my question about that would be,
I can walk you through it.
Were these outdoor venues? I can't remember.
They were all outdoor.
Okay.
I think the Jack and Kyle and the band, they probably wanted to keep it COVID friendly as possible.
Yeah.
So they were all outdoor amphitheaters.
Okay. So
not all of them were amphitheaters. Like there was a couple that were just like a stage, almost like at a festival, but it's just like, an outdoor stage.
Yeah. So being an outdoor situation and it being a crowd that's not necessarily there to see others. I mean, how did you do? How was it? Was it a challenge or was it easy as heck? And it was just amazing.
It was not. I wouldn't say it was easy. It was a challenge. It was fun. It was nerve-wracking, and it was rewarding at the end of the day. But it was. So the first show was in North Carolina, Wilmington, North Carolina, and I never been there. I never performed in. I think I performed in Asheville in like 2007 or something, like the first tour I ever went on. But
well, I think we went there together to North Carolina, not Wilmington, but North Carolina.
I don't think we did.
Isn't Charlotte there?
Okay, there you go. Okay, well, if you think about that show,
and then isn't Carborough Raleigh? Isn't wait? Where's wherever UNC is? I mean, we went to a couple places in there, I think.
Regardless. Like, okay, I've never been to Wilmington.
Sure.
So, there you go. And the first show, I have a 45-minute slot. Like when they asked me to do it back in February, that's when they asked me a long time ago, maybe even January. And I think they said I get 45 minutes to an hour, and which is unusual, right? It's kind of unusual for an opening band, or maybe at a rock show, the opener plays for that long. I guess that's typical. But for me, for what I do, it seemed like, okay, this is going to be a challenge to keep the crowd on my side for 45 minutes.
For a comedian, that's a headlining set.
That's a headlining set, yeah, for a comedian. Anyway, I've been doing shows around town and kind of practicing, and even opening for Cobra Man was kind of a practice, because that's a rock band, and I got a half an hour. Maybe I got the same amount of time for that set. I think I got an hour for that.
Oh, for the Man. For Cobra Man, I mean.
Yes. And before when I would open for them, I would just DJ, kind of get the crowd dancing, before the band comes on,
Slapping and laughing.
slapping and laughing. So then I thought, well, I'm going to bring my comedy gear so I could do a little bit of that with the Cobra Man show. So just going back to Cobra Man, I kind of got a taste of like what a rock crowd is going to feel like. So what I would do was do maybe 15 minutes of comedy, and then the crowd was like ready to like stage dive and stuff. They were crazy for Cobra Man. And those were small packed clubs. So yeah, I'd be mostly DJing music. And then for Tenacious D, I thought, well, this is a comedy crowd, and they might be down for like, so the first show I just did 45 minutes of comedy, 100%.
Yeah.
And I remember setting up my gear, talking to the roadies and stuff. And I was like, maybe I'll set up my laptop in case
you need to turn the music on.
Right. And he goes, I got to give a shout out to Lance, my roadie. He was one of the roadies for Tenacious D, but he helped me out. He was like, you know what, just do your art and just do your thing. He's like, don't worry about what they think, and I was like, yeah, you're right. So I did. And my sound is weird because my mic runs through my sampler. So I control the level of my mic in relation to the sounds of the samples and the beats and stuff.
You control the sheets.
I control the sheets. I control the levels. And my mic might have been turned down lower than the sound of my samples. And it was a huge place with the front area, everyone was sitting. And they were all laughing, they're all the people, all from my experience, everyone was laughing.
Okay.
But then there was this whole back area. And I remember getting a DM. Somebody was like, we can't hear you back here.
Oh,
like,
really?
After the show, I was like, oh crap, you couldn't hear me? Dang. And then like, I was, so from my experience, I thought I did good. Everyone in the front was laughing. I did all my bits. I went really hard with the DJ Dark Pound, and I did, just like the most upsetting jokes. I did like this 9/11 joke that was like, maybe the concept is that, there's an evil comedian on stage saying bad stuff, like, you get it, right, Brent? I thought the crowd would get it. The people in the back, I'm getting all these tweets afterwards, like, he said that 9/11 joke. And, they were like, they didn't get the concept. Was like, I'm not really doing that joke. The joke is that there's a bad person telling tasteless or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying, Brent?
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
It's the bad.
I just need you to say, of course.
You're the bad boy of comedy. I mean, in that character.
It was a character doing it. So I think also there was no screen of like, so when you're that far back, there's just like a tiny person up on a stage up there, and they're like, I don't know what the hell. So to them, they just kind of, the people in the back. So anyway, here's the point. During Tenacious D's set, I was up on this balcony, kind of like far back. So I could see the people in the back. I could see the front group. And Jack said, it was near the end of the show. He goes, give it up for the opener, DJ Doug Pound. And 1,000 people going, oh, it was crazy. I was like, what? I thought they liked it. But it was only the people in the back. And probably because they couldn't hear me. They couldn't really catch the concept of DJ Dark Pound and stuff.
Funny, they don't hear all the little details of the joke. All they hear is 9/11. They just heard 9/11 and boom, or whatever it is,
Right,
right. And then, or they're just hearing the buzzwords that would make them upset. They're just, Holocaust and something like that. They're just hearing these
and
buzzwords.
I've been preparing for this for like months. Just it's on my mind. Like every day, I'm like that tour is coming up. I have to like prepared. I did so much preparation. I came up with new bits. I did a lot of shows. I tweaked my set. I did put the greatest hits together. I dug up some old bits that I thought would be, you know what I'm saying? Like I really put a lot of work into it. And then I go on Twitter, like And some guy's like, that is the worst opening act I've ever seen. I've never booed anyone in my life, but I had to boo him. And then I retweeted him and it turned into this whole discussion. And then he was like, I don't know how this could have happened. Could this happen? And I responded. I said, I could have just said, you're an idiot or something. But I said, like, that was the first night of tour. I've been practicing for this for like over 6 months. I'm like, it was the first night. I was kind of testing out what worked and what didn't. The audio the sound mix was kind of off, so the people in the back couldn't hear me. I was like, it was the first night. I've never performed in a crowd that big. And then he goes, and he was like, I'm sorry, dude. I deleted the tweet. He sent me this whole like long message. He's like, you're just a guy. I shouldn't have said that. Now I understand. You're just trying to do your art, and so it kind of made me feel like that's how Twitter should work. Instead of just like saying you suck, fuck you, it should be like, oh, I suck. Well, maybe you didn't understand the full story of like my experience. And then I gave him that. And then he deleted the whole thing. But I wish he kind of would have kept it up, because it was an interesting back and forth. And then the way I explained myself, and then a lot of people from that first show where other people were like, you should never perform again, never get on stage. Tenacious D, why did you have this person opening? It was terrible, blah, blah, blah. But then by the second show, I tweaked my set, and I got the levels a little better. And I thought I would DJ some music just to like, because when I go on, it's like 8:00 on the dot. And a lot of people aren't really, if it's a seated venue, they're all kind of, there's a lot of empty seats. They're all still kind of filtering in and getting a drink or whatever, finding their seat. There's all kinds of, there's booths, there's like food, there's all this stuff. So the second show, I DJ'd for 5 minutes, and I thought, what would I DJ here? That's kind of funny, but like also, and then
Ghetto Tech. You could get DJ'd Ghetto Tech songs.
Well, the merch guy was like, he was like giving me notes. They were actually kind of helpful. He's like, it's a metal crowd. You got to like do more jokes with like heavy metal or something like that. And I was like, why don't I just DJ some heavy metal mashups? So I DJ'd like, I found these like funny mashups, and, I would just play those at the top, and people were kind of like, they were like, okay, this is like a funny DJ guy. And then I would hard cut out and say something like, how come no one's dancing? Or like, do you guys know who I am? And, just to get the temperature. Some people are like, yeah. And I'll be like, if you don't know who I am, then I have that whole bit about like, I sing that song about my name is DJ Doug Bound. And then, you know what I'm saying? Then I kind of ease them into it. So at that show,
before doing that, you said you guys want to hear a really metal song, and then you get into that song, which is not metal at all. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, so the second show was much better. Let me look at the calendar here. I can walk you through each.
Can I
each gig? I can. Okay, so the second show was in Philadelphia. Also, I've been to Philly many times, and that spot is a lot more. I've been there many times, so there's going to be a lot more fans of mine there, right? But some of these venues were challenging to perform in, and I think that was one of them, because it had this crazy, if that's the one I'm thinking of, it had this like, it was like being in an echo chamber. That wasn't the worst of them, but that was one of them that was kind of like, when I'm talking, it just felt like I was talking into space or something. And it was hard. It's hard to, when you do comedy, you want to connect with the crowd. So when you're in a small comedy club, you can hear the laughter, and they're kind of paying attention. You know what I'm saying? They're not at the rock show at 8:00. A lot of people are still kind of talking and mingling or milling about and finding their seats. So there is that din of like kind of talking, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I had to just kind of like
It's funny talking.
I had to learn
like
how to. That was distracting, so I had to learn how to ignore that and just concentrate on telling the joke that I'm telling, or the bit, setting it up. So that was a challenge to like ignore that sound. So anyway, um, the second show in Philly was much better, and I think only one person on Twitter said that I sucked or something.
And did you respond to that person?
No, I just stopped responding at all. I think maybe I would just give it a heart or something, if anything, just to be like, killing kindness a little bit. And then, okay, so the show after that, Guilford, New Hampshire. This was probably my best show of the tour. There's two really good shows. That was my friends from Boston came out, so I had some friends there. The guys from Fancy Lad
skateboarding.
Yeah. Matt Tomasello and Nick came out. Nick Murray, who started Fancy Lad,
who's been a guest on this podcast,
who's been on the show, friend of the show. They came out. They brought some friends, and that show, it was like the venue was awesome. The sound was good, and I just felt like
a real man for once.
I really had to. I think I spent a lot of time just meditating on what I'm going to say, going through my notes, practicing, thinking about what songs I was going to play. That show went great. Then we went to, I thought I was on a roll. Then we got to Bridgeport, Connecticut. I never even heard of this place.
And the bridge fell down.
I was like, what is this town? Anyway, that was the worst venue for me. That it sounded like there was a slapback. It sounds like when you're on Zoom and you can hear yourself. The whole set. I'm talking, and it's like repeating back to me. And I thought I was losing my mind. And that was like really distracting.
So when you said
the venue was like kind of like this giant tent, and it looked like you're in a sports stadium. It had like the stadium seating.
Yeah.
And the slapback of the audio was really difficult to deal with. And the lighting, since the tent was white, it kind of like illuminated the whole crowd. And when you see the crowd, that's also a bit of a distraction. You like to perform. You want the crowd to be kind of dark when you're doing comedy. Would you agree?
Especially when you're DJ Dark Pound.
Would you agree, Brent?
I do like not seeing it. I mean, in some ways, I like seeing the crowd.
I like to see like a couple faces, but like to see the entire thousands of people, every face out there, and every person not looking, every person kind of looking, it was distracting.
I hear that,
and with the slapback. So that one, that was not a highlight. I would just say
they weren't slapping and laughing; they were just slap backing.
And I probably got some people saying I sucked on that one big time. Then I was like, okay, the rest of these shows I got to knock out of the park.
When did you start going up on? I saw some clip. This is the only thing I know about it is I saw some clip that you posted of you playing the balloon with the band with Tenacious D. And did that start at the beginning of the tour, or was that a later development?
That started on the second show. So the first, I saw them with when Puddle's Pity Party opened. In San Diego. So I knew what the show was, and they do this part where they have Kyle does a solo with like a recorder, and then maybe he plays two recorders at once. And then they give the bass player, John Spiker, a solo. And then John, the guitarist, he gets a solo, and then the drummer gets a solo, Scott Seaver. Also the band are like the coolest dudes, so supportive, and like they were all so stoked for me. Just as a little side note, everyone in the tour was like super cool. Like this, I think the roadies had been with them forever. Those guys were all really awesome. Even the merch guy was cool. Anyway,
even the merch guy, as if maybe
I mean, he went out of his way to like help me. It wasn't just that he was friendly. It was like he really it behooved him to help me sell more, and he was really nice to work with, I would say, and very helpful. So what was I saying? So they do this part where everyone gets a solo, and I remember seeing Pity Puddles came out and he did a solo. I forgot what his solo was, but I thought, yeah, when I go on tour with them, I got to figure out what my solo is. So I do that bit where I play Michael Jackson with a balloon.
Yeah.
So I told Jack, hey, if you want me to come up for so, and then the Jack gives the lighting guy a solo. It turns into like a gag where it's like the roadies get a solo, and the tour manager gets a solo where he's like typing into his calculator or something.
Yeah.
You know, so it becomes a gag, and they give the lighting guy Dan. He was amazing too. He helped me light all my different bits. He would change the lighting for and stuff. So I thought I'll go out there and do his balloon solo. I told Jack he was super into it. And then he goes, yeah, he was just like, you got to get out there and do that solo. So like the solo, it got better and better by the last show. It was perfect where I was like, I was playing with the band, you know, it was like, we were like going back and forth with like drum hits and guitar
Call and response.
It was this call and response by the end. And by the final show, we had this really killer solo, but it was kind of sad. It was like, now that we have that solo dialed in, I'm going to post all the solos, I think, on Instagram,
the evolution
of them. Cause you'll see by the final one, it's like, it's really dialed in. So that's how that happened. Okay. Let me just run through the next shows real quick. Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. That was the most reverby place. I think even the band might have struggled with like how it was. I think it's designed for like classical music. It was a big wooden dome kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the show went great for both of us. And yeah, that doesn't really matter about the echo thing. It really matters about how the show went in general. Milwaukee. My parents flew out.
Really?
6 of my cousins came, and they all brought either their spouse or they brought friends. So it was like this ton. And then my friend Dave was there. So yeah, that was the most nerve-wracking show because my parents are there. And
so did you perform well on that one?
They might see me. They might see the crowd not like me or something. You know, I was like, I have to nail it.
And your mom would look at you and think, oh, my poor baby. Oh, my baby. Well, was that a good one?
I did good. I felt, you know, sometimes you just have to like be confident. I just was like, I'm going to be confident. I'm going to do my things. I'm going to I nailed it. Everyone was like super psyched.
Oh, then maybe you, when you did well, she looked at you and she thought, my baby, you know, as a positive, my baby. It wasn't a my baby of concern. It was a my baby of pride.
She sent me some notes.
Oh, goodness.
You want to hear it? Hear her notes?
Sure.
1, you did a great job. Took guts to do stand up in front of that crowd. 2, liked your outfit. 3, didn't like the Christian joke. Drop it. 4, a few jokes were really raunchy. You need to drop those. Suggestion number 5, 45 minutes is a long time. You could dance to Michael Jackson's song, learn his moves.
I like that suggestion a lot.
6, like your death jokes. I don't even know what those are.
Must be the Dark Pound jokes.
Okay.
Oh, or maybe it's the Dove joke.
The what? You know, the funeral bit.
Staying alive and
the funeral bit. Okay.
And the bats or whatever.
Number 7, you could play some of those songs that call out the dance move and dance. A lot of people would get up and dance. The chicken dance is fun. Put a John Travolta mask on and do Staying Alive.
Okay.
I don't think I'm going to do that, but I like that. I like that she gives me notes. Number 8. I don't want to say it, but she talking about the Office Hours podcast, and she thinks she's not into some of that stuff. And she says, watch Preacher Lawson not do one dirty joke, and we were in hysterics. You know who that is?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I think she went to see Preacher Lawson do.
I think he might have got won or got close to winning one of those televised contests.
He's like an America's Got Talent kind of.
America's Got Talent, or he's some kind of Last Comic Standing kind of guy or something like that.
She also said, do you want me to buy that huge bra as a prop? Because she had this idea. She found like a giant bra at a thrift store, and she was going to buy it and throw it on stage.
Oh, that's funny.
And I thought, actually, that would have been funny. But she's like, want me to buy it? I said, no, don't do that. Anyway, so that was that show, Milwaukee, and then Minnesota. That was a fine show. That's not as memorable, but okay, Minnesota. And then, we're cruising along. We have one final show in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. But Minnesota was cool. Oh, actually, so Minnesota was at this outdoor, it wasn't a shell, it wasn't an amphitheater, it was just like a stage at a brewery. So it was like just a big lawn, and it was all standing. And all the other ones were seated venues. This was just thousands of people standing, in a general admission type of deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I went on earlier than any other set. I think I went on at like 7, and it was still light out. So it's still daytime, and I'm starting, and I could see everyone's face. It was just quite surreal. And there was like a beautiful sunset like behind everybody. That was kind of a surreal.
It was a great opportunity to be romantic. With
everywhere
everybody.
I looked was just thousands, and they were all looking at me. They weren't like, they were all there to check, to like pay attention. At right when the show started, they were ready to go. And I think I did good. It seemed like I did good. That was a different experience at that show.
It was romantic.
Yeah. And then Cedar Rapids, Iowa, that was the most bizarre show maybe I've ever done. Maybe not. I mean, in a way, because that was an outdoor amphitheater, beautiful place right on a river. And I don't think I've ever performed in Iowa, unless you can think of a time. No, never.
I cannot tell you that you've.
You and I haven't.
I cannot tell you.
Cannot. So what happened was that crowd was just different. They weren't, because sometimes at the other crowds you would hear somebody yelling "Nah, nah, nah," or something, or like the din of talking in between jokes. This was like they were at a performance, just silently. They were like watching a movie. It was like no audience feedback. It was like
they're like this. You tell a joke and someone starts to go ha ha shh.
It was almost like that. It was like,
or someone starts talking and they go shh.
It was like, I do this thing where I'm like, is it okay to listen to Michael Jackson anymore? I set up that bit by saying that, and the crowd usually goes, yeah, no, or whatever. They respond. This was like one person, maybe out of thousands, was like, yeah, or something. It was just bizarre. I was like, I felt like I was talking to, you know what I mean? There's some kind of give and take, and it wasn't like that. But yeah, that show was kind of weird, but I kind of was like stoked that, this is the last one. So I'm going to just do my thing. And I just kind of like, I did it. And, I got a lot of nice DMs and stuff saying stuff like, I'm glad you came through here and freaked out this crowd a little bit, kind of thing. And a lot of Trump supporters were like, not into it, but I'm glad you did that. I guess that's more of a Trumpy kind of zone over there.
Yeah, I don't like it when people try to be supportive by saying other people didn't like it, though.
Yeah, but I still.
Why do they say that?
It's still fine that they. Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of self-aggrandizing in a way. Hey, I loved it, but I know there was a lot of people there that didn't like it. A lot of Trump supporters that didn't like it. But I liked it, and I'm not a Trump supporter. I mean, you're just tooting yourself up. Just give a compliment. That's
Oh,
it. You know?
yeah, I know what you're saying. But you know what else? I forgot. There's a few tricks that I like learned.
Oh, you started wearing a red hat instead of a yellow hat or white hat?
No, there's a couple tricks that I learned. I mean, that I learned by myself. After the first show, I sort of explained what's going to happen a little bit. Like at the beginning of my set, I'd be like, "Hey, you guys want to, do you want to get weird?" I never. This is cool. I would like pander a little bit too. Like, it's great to be here and wherever. Like, this place is awesome. Like, I'm so, I just kind of like kiss their ass. Like, this place is awesome. You guys are an awesome crowd. You guys seem cool. You want to get weird with me tonight? I'm gonna do something a little different and be a little weird tonight and act like I'm doing a special show for them. So I kind of
that's funny.
I would say that to like,
as if this
they were
is
a
not
lot more. They were a lot more like on my side once I did that. Because at the first show, I just like did my act, like just recited my act. At the next one, I kind of was like, hey, you want to get weird? I'm Doug. It's cool to be here. This place is awesome. I just kind of like do a little bit of that, and then they're kind of more forgiving, or they're more on my side. You know what I'm saying?
Make it sound like this is he's doing something special for us, or this is a different. He doesn't usually do this, so this is cool.
And then when I do the dark pound, I'm like, you guys seem open-minded. Like, you guys like weird stuff, right? There's this guy, he's like, and then I would explain him a little more too. I'd be like, he's like, he's kind of like an evil DJ. I don't know what's up with him. I would have to like spoon feed the bit to them a little bit more when there's like not necessarily like a tuned in comedy crowd or something. I would spoon feed them that concept a little bit, and then that worked a little better too.
Yeah.
So that was one tip for doing these big shows, is do a little bit of that stuff helped. And then so that was it. Cedar Rapids, and then
well, okay. Well, that was the what do you call it? Roundup? That was the
and there wasn't a lot of I didn't do a lot of sightseeing. I drove myself, and I did. One highlight was in Boston. There was a day off between one of those East Coast shows where I was driving through the Boston area. So I stopped there and hung out with the Fancy Lad guys. And
you didn't hang out with Jack Black and the crew?
Well, Jack Black and Kyle, I think they had their own bus, and I could have rode with the tour bus, but then I mean with the crew, but then if I did that, I would have woke up at a venue and just kind of been at the venue all day, and then afterwards I wouldn't have had the freedom to drive around and see stuff. And and actually no, there was other things I stopped at. Like, I went to a beach, I went swimming, I did some sightseeing here and there, but a lot of it was just like, you drive for a lot and then you go, you know what I mean? I thought it might be worth it to just have my own means of transportation, because I think that's what Puddles did. So I was like, well, whatever he did, I don't want to ruffle any feathers or feel like I'm another person in the tour van that's like gonna take up space or something. So I felt I was being more courteous by like let everyone else have more space.
Did you have any bonding time with Tenacious D? Did you guys kind of get into it at all? I mean, did you kind of take that relationship?
Yeah, we all went to
the next level.
We all went to a nice dinner, and I would talk to Jack at every show, and he would really be super supportive, and he's like an anti-celebrity in a way, because he's just like, when all my parents and friends came, he was the one being like, let's get a selfie and like, no, take it again. And he would be like taking the pictures and like, he wanted to get a picture with everybody. I would always be like, well, hey, Jack, it'd be cool if, are you going to come out to the backstage? Because my friends are here. He's like, I'm coming out. And, he would be like gung ho, like, I definitely want to take a picture with everybody and meet everybody. And he gave everybody like time. Like, he really like,
What do you mean anti-celebrity? That sounds like celebrity.
but you know what I mean? Like sometimes they're like, they feel like it's a burden to like take photos with people.
Yeah, no.
But I mean, he was just, I don't want to say anti-celebrity. He was just like very, I don't know what you call that, like accommodating, or he was just like really cool about that and he was genuinely very nice and wanted to give time to everybody and take pictures with everybody and all that stuff.
Sure.
And Kyle was too. I remember like in Boston, Kyle, like they wanted to get a picture with Jack and he's like, no one wants a picture with the other guy,
Who said that?
Kyle. He's like, I'm the other guy. You guys don't want a picture with me. So then in Milwaukee, I was like, Kyle, you got to come out. And then he sat down and he goes, everyone sit on Santa's lap. And we all took a picture on his lap.
Everyone's sitting on his lap at the same time?
Not at the same time. No, it was fun. They're both really cool. They're just like super laid back. Like, it's hard to explain. They rock extremely hard. They put on a great show, but it's also like, it just wasn't any tension or anything like that. It just like really easygoing crew and everybody was just chill. There was no, didn't seem pretty stress-free. It was nice. Great experience. Coolest group of dudes. And I can't say that enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's my point.
Sounds like a success overall.
It was a success, Brent. Brent, I got to talk to you about coffee for a second because I'm one of these guys that wakes up in the morning and I want to start off my day with something special. I don't want just a blah cup of coffee. I want to start my day off right.
You drink a lot of coffee?
Yeah, pretty much every day, at least one cup.
You just wake and drink.
I wake and drink. And what I've been doing lately is I've been using Trade coffee. I start my day off with a special treat with Trade coffee.
It's funny you mentioned that because can I tell you a little something about Trade coffee?
Oh, please do.
It's a coffee subscription service, unlike anything you've tried before. I mean, not you, but maybe other people.
I'm trying it now and I'm loving it because they're sending me these interesting coffee beans from places just bags of coffee I've never tasted before, and it's just it's wonderful.
Well, what they do is they partner with top independent roasters to freshly roast and send the best coffees in the country direct to your home or your preferred schedule.
Yeah. For you listeners, your Trade experience can be as simple or sophisticated as you want. You can quickly select from curated collections by roast, flavor profile, brewing method, and more. Their team of experts do all the work, taste testing hundreds of coffees from across the U.S. every month to curate over 450 exceptional coffees that make the cut.
Or if you want something curated just for you,
that's what I did.
Yeah, you just take a minute and complete Trade Coffee's questionnaire, and you'll be expertly matched with your perfect coffee, and fresh bag of beans will be on its way to you. And so tell me about that. What happened? I mean, you did it. You filled out the questionnaire, right?
Yeah, the coffee I got from Trade is like so yummy, Brent.
Tell me about it. What happened? What was it like? What did you do?
I just filled out a question. I filled out a questionnaire about like what kind of coffee I drink, what kind of coffee maker I use.
Give me specifics. I'm interested. I want to get to know you a little bit.
It's personal.
Okay.
It's personal. You just go to.
Okay.
Look, Brent, if you want to support small businesses and brew the best cup of coffee you've ever made at home, it's time to try Trade coffee. Right now, Trade is offering our listeners a total of $30 off your first order plus free shipping at drinktrade.com/poundcast. That's drinktrade.com/poundcast for 30% off your subscription to the best coffees in the country. And before I close, I will say I used to do French press, but now my friend is staying with me and he's got this cappuccino machine, or what do you call it? It's the kind with the thing and you tamp it down and you go like that. I got one of those. And so I have, they sent me some special beans just for that. And it's hard to drink just one cup now.
I want to know what your flavor profile was that you put in. That's so secret. You know?
Well, it has questions like, show me, I want something exciting, or, I like coffee that tastes like coffee, or, it has questions like that, or, like a little something different, or like dazzle me, like take me on a journey, like,
yeah.
I think I put, I didn't go full journey, but I might go full journey next time. I don't know. They got a lot of stuff they're going to send you something that you're going to like. That's the bottom line. I have a lot of merch left over because I didn't sell as much as I kind of thought I might.
Oh, but did you sell some merch though?
Yeah.
Do you think that you made some new fans?
And if anyone on the Poundcast wants merch, I'm going to put up I'll have to remind myself to do this. I'm going to put up a discount code for Pound Pimples. I think it's Pimples, all capitals. If you go to my merch, which is, I think if you just look up Doug Pound merch, you'll find it's on Merch Central or something. But capital Pimples, I think you're going to get a discount. Let's move some of these units.
Do you feel like you made some new fans?
I didn't really check social media that much of like who's following me, but let's look right now. I must have.
You didn't get any?
I must have. I don't think I lost any.
I never heard of you before, but that was great. I'm a fan now. You didn't get any of those.
Yeah, I think I got a couple of those kind of deals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I see these new followers, like so and so followed you, so maybe something happened.
Okay, there you go. Hey, well, there you go. That's the.
So that's the bottom line, and it was an incredible experience. I saw all these places I'd never seen before. I drove through up on the East Coast in like this crazy long bridge that's between like Delaware and Maryland. You know that bridge? It's like,
nah.
I think it's the longest bridge in the country.
Oh, is that
just
right?
Driving over the ocean like forever.
Oh.
I checked out Ocean City, Maryland. It's kind of like Venice Beach for like Trump people.
Is that right? Okay.
Kind of like trashy food everywhere, and dumb T-shirts with big slogans on them for sale. Every few shops, it's like the same stuff. And then there's like, carnival rides at the end of the thing. And anyway, yeah, it was a great experience. And let's move on with the show. What's next. That's the official recap. Sorry, everybody. I hope that wasn't. I know the show's supposed to be funny, but let's get into some phone calls and mix it.
Yeah, I mean, I had some topics, but I kind of don't know if.
Oh, let's hear some of your top.
I feel like I don't know. I just feel like there are topics that I feel like could lead to some longer discussions and bits and things, and I kind of feel.
Why don't we save them?
Maybe we should save them. Yeah.
Okay.
But why don't we can do is we can probably listen to some voice messages.
Okay.
If that works. I mean, where are we at right now? How many minutes are we at right now? I would say,
Brent, I'm not exactly sure. I want to say we're at least
45,
something like that. Yeah,
something like that.
Maybe a little less than that. But
so why don't we do some of these messages? I suppose. But
yeah, this is some voicemails.
Yeah. So, we only have about 4, but I think 4 is going to be probably just right for us.
Okay.
And actually, not just right, just ripe. Here we go. Let's try this one here. These are not labeled or anything. I'm just playing these. We don't know what's going to happen.
Hey, what's up? This is Josiah from Buffalo. I'm a big Pound Temple, knuckles up for a long time. I actually saw Doug at the Brooklyn show. He was nice enough to give out pins and take a picture. He's a real cool guy. So anyway, I have two questions. One is, you guys are creative people, and like most creative people I know, there's usually some side venture that they feel that they haven't ever had the margin to do. They say if you're a musician, there's probably like a videography project or something like that. What's the creative venture that each of you guys individually have wanted to work on but have been putting off or just haven't quite found the time or venue for? Second question is, I know you guys, Doug grew up in the church, and growing up in the church, it was a great place to like get on stage and play music and like be in the church band and all that. So I was just curious about Brent's background. How did you get started creatively? Were you like, I know you said you used to like perform for your family and stuff. Yeah, I'm just curious how you guys like first got into comedy or performing in general. Thanks. Love you guys.
Well, okay. I got to back. Well, okay. Let's see here.
He grew up in the church. I grew up in the gospel church. So I would do gospel, and I would be in choir and I get up and, that's kind of where I learned all my chops was gospel. No, anyway, sorry, go on. What were you going to say?
Should we answer the first part?
Well, I guess I could work. I was making a joke, but I guess
let's work our way back. Let me answer that second part because I did go to church, but the way he's framing it, like that's where I got my start.
It made me think of you in a gospel setting, actually.
No, I was not
getting up and dancing.
Catholic church, I'm just sitting in a pew and then, in high school, I got into more of a Christian youth group, non-denominational kind of thing. But I think what got me into it was breakdancing, because when I was like 10, and there is a photo of me and my breakdancing crew from the mid 80s or something, early 80s. That was on Reddit. It was like on the front page of Reddit because it's such an epic. It's on like Old School Cool. If you look up Suburban Street Rockers. In fact, I could pull it up right now and share my screen if you want.
I think we've shown it before, but yeah, I mean.
Yeah, so I would say, breakdancing is where I started my, I would be performing in front of people, crowds of people outside in a parking lot in a parking lot, many parking lots. That's where I started my performing. I just had the I just wanted people to see what I could do. I don't know what it was, but that's where it started.
I didn't know what it was.
I didn't know what it was.
I mean, I sucked it anyway, but I don't know what it was though. Shoot.
And then I always wanted people to see stuff I did. So like when I make a video, I make funny videos, I show them to my friend, and that's not really like performing, but I wanted to share my creativity with people one way or the other. Started with breakdancing, and then maybe skateboarding was a little bit of that. I just always wanted to. I remember skateboarding. I just wanted to like random passersby to like see. I wanted businessmen to like watch.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't know, something about that. It was just something that I wanted.
I kind of know the feeling because I sometimes,
what I'm saying? Like I wanted somebody to notice me, like what I was doing.
Sometimes when you play certain music in your car, you're kind of proud of the music and you want other drivers to
hear it. Check me out. Yeah, it's sort of like
I would do that with video game music and stuff. I wanted people to hear, oh, that's cool. He's playing the music of Castlevania or whatever out of his car. You want people to, and then also I want people who might think, how are you getting that music to play from your car? Well,
yeah. And then I would also say, I forgot that I was in bands. Like in college, I was in a band, and, we would play shows, and then after college I was in random different groups, and I would, we would like set up shows. And
yeah, I mean, music was probably my kind of where I kind of started doing public performing as music. I was in band. I was in a band. I was in band at school.
What band? Were you in a band, like a band with your Like
Yeah, it was
friends,
a jazz
or was
band.
it you talk about like a school band?
Both, I'm saying.
What band were you in? This is brand new. This is breaking news.
Nothing special. I mean, it was just me. It was a jazz band with, some guys I went to high school with. In high school.
What'd you call it?
Well, I guess it was called the Nick Callan Quintet. Nick Callan was not in the band, but Nick Callan was a guy that we knew. And
it was like a joke name?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Okay.
And we just, we played some jazz songs and stuff, and we used to.
That counts.
What?
That counts.
And, but, really, I mean, yeah, we might have done a couple shows, but really where I started doing shows it was just me and the bass player. We did some stuff in some hotels and stuff, or in a hotel at least. But, I was playing piano in high school, so I was doing those live shows like that. But I don't know if that's kind of, I think performing music is a little different than doing comedy, I guess. But, I showed a video in the after show in the Unzipped After Dark. Remember that I showed a video of my dad used to have my sister and me do impressions of actors from the 30s and 40s.
Oh, so yeah.
And so that was kind of
kid. You've been doing
that
comedy in a way.
My dad was kind of doing that, and then my parents actually did kind of want. Wasn't interested in this when I was a kid, but kind of wanted me to try to go on do some child acting stuff. Well, I never did do any child acting stuff, but and then at one point, of course I started making videos, just home video stuff, and making videos with my friends when we were in junior high and stuff. And that's kind of a precursor, making comedy videos. We saw some of your, I think in the Unzipped, Doug showed some old videos from when he was a kid. But I think that I didn't start really doing live comedy bits. It started with me doing radio. I did do some comedy bits on the radio because I was doing some, community radio kind of stuff, mostly playing music. But that was kind of the beginning of it, I feel like, doing the radio stuff.
Yeah, my beginning for comedy was making videos, and I did that cable access show. I might have to release the tapes of the cable access show someday. But yeah, I was making these little short videos, and then I met this guy that was like, you could put those on cable access. And then it got me thinking, and I cut it together into a half-an-hour thing. And the rest is history.
I just had a thought.
But I also remember, real quick, Brent, when you were talking about music, you want to hear people to hear your music. Like when I lived in Chicago, I was DJing just at parties, and I wanted to like DJ at parties, and I was pretty good. Anyway, what were you? Sorry.
Yeah. Well, another thought that just came to mind that was, I think, a kind of a precursor a little bit to doing live stuff, or the idea of commanding a crowd kind of, or something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like when I was in high school, and also in college, getting involved with class discussions, I think was a precursor to that, and kind of even sometimes, but not just getting involved with class discussions, but making good, contributing in a really good way. I don't know, contributing in a really because sometimes if you make a smart comment in class, or have maybe a pretty insightful observation about something, I feel like that was, and you kind of maybe help spark an interesting discussion in class because of a comment. I feel like that's kind of a precursor to doing, working with a crowd.
I get it. Yeah.
And then
that's
also
you start in school. You talk to that little group, you say something, and you work.
And sometimes I would not just it wasn't just making insightful comments about whatever we were analyzing, but sometimes those insightful comments were kind of humorous too. And I feel like, and they would get laughs. And so I think that was also part of it. And that started in high school. And then when I was a freshman in college, I got scared to do that in class again. But then maybe by the second semester of my freshman year, but definitely by my sophomore year in college, I got back into the groove of kind of being comfortable, not just contributing to the discussion, but also kind of doing that and kind of in a way where I was addressing the crowd of the classroom or something.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that was actually that was probably a key thing is, comments in class.
Yeah, we got
discussion.
it. So as far as the venture, I mean, there's all kinds of things I want to do, but I think, making a movie, you want to make a movie. That's.
Oh, I mean but that's kind of part of that's part of comedy.
Is this question
I think
like something not related to like our.
I think so. I think it's kind of. I think maybe he's asking. I don't know. I mean, for me, music was always a thing that I at first was pursuing kind of wholeheartedly, but then that became a side thing, and I've kind of lost touch with music stuff a lot, and I feel, I don't know. Yeah, that's always.
I mean, I've said this before, but like, yeah, definitely music. Like, I've always in the back of my mind wanted to have some kind of like goofy song that was like a novelty hit, but also a cool song. You know what I'm saying? Like in the line of like Who Let the Dogs Out, or you know what I mean? Those like kind of dancey, goofy songs that pop up once in a while that are like Gangnam Style, or what's another one like da da da, like not that I want to do it in those styles, but like that kind of song that's like, yeah, like a novelty track that goes viral. Like,
yeah, that would be cool.
Whether I do make those, they don't go viral, but it'd be cool.
You make novelty tracks, yeah.
I do want to make. I've had this idea for a long time to do a whole album of novelty songs, and I wanted to do it with Tim Heidecker, and I think we started to. We might have made a song or two, but we get busy with our main thing, and it's always pushed to the side. Now me and Vic want to do something like that.
Mm-hmm. I kind of want to make a video game.
There you go.
I have I think a cool idea for a video game. I don't even want to say what it is right now, but yeah, that maybe work with a designer to do that, but yeah.
You know what else I want to do? I kind of want to get into clothing.
Really?
Yeah, because I have these clothing ideas. I think I've mentioned them on the show before, but I want to design. A lot of times, like when I do comedy or when I create something, it's like because it doesn't exist, like there should be a show like this. There should be, you know what I'm saying? There's like, this is the kind of thing I want to see in the world, so I make it. So sometimes I think of interesting clothing ideas and I want them to happen, but so that's another example. Let's listen to another voicemail. I think we spent a lot of time on that guy.
Okay.
Interesting question though. Good question.
Sure. This is a shorty right
All
here.
Right.
Hold on. I got to share again here.
Hey, Doggy and Breen, I love your podcast and I love you guys. Bye.
Oh, thank you. Here's a longer one.
You guys were talking about ways to trick people into saying what their name is in case you forgot what their name is. Like, oh, have you met so-and-so? One trick I do is like, I pretend I forget how to spell their name. So I'm like, hey, how do you spell your name again? And then that kind of just like is a trick, but it backfired on me once because like there was this person that I'd seen like several times, and I was like, hey, how do you spell your name? And he was like, Dan. It was just Dan. And then I did it to like another person in the same party, and I was like, hey, I'm sorry, how do you spell your name? And they were like, Liz. So it's just like the most obvious erroneously spelled names.
Right. That's funny. I mean, you could
Yeah, I was about to say that could backfire if it's like a super simple name.
super simple name. But then again, Dan, I'm just trying to
Well,
think.
you know what you could do? You could if that ever happens, you could tell some kind of, white lie where it's like, oh, it is DAN. Okay, because that's weird because I have this friend that's DAHN. And I was just wondering if there's anyone else that spelled it like that.
Yeah, right.
Just play dumb or like,
yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm just double checking because I know two people named Dan where it says DANN, and I'm like, that's weird. You don't do two N's, right?
Well, I was wondering, how many people actually spell their name DANN? Anyway, I knew it was. I would assume that it was DAN, but
or you can throw someone else under the bus. Like, I knew it. Of course, it's DAN. This idiot over there, he thinks it's DANN.
Yeah, for some reason, Charles thought it was. He was telling me you had 3 N's in your name. DANNN. DANN. Wait, DANNN. Yeah. Isn't that weird? I thought there's no way that you have 3 N's. Anyway, I said no, it's just Dan. This is the regular way you say Dan. That's what I was saying. I told him that's Dan. Yeah, regular, just Dan, DAN. Yeah, you just say, oh, I don't know. Yeah, for some reason, Charles. You know Charles? You don't even know. There's no guy named Charles. You just say,
right.
Yeah, you just throw a guy under the bus who's not even real.
Doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
Wait, do you know Charles by any chance? We were talking about you the other day.
I don't know Charles. No.
Well, we were talking about you the other day, and
Charles Hampton?
No.
Oh, okay. That's the only Charles I know.
Charles Clapper.
Oh, okay.
Do you know him?
No. Can you pull up his profile? I want to make sure.
I don't think he's online. I don't think he's online, but
okay.
we were talking. We were doing fishing the other day, and then he was. Well,
where were you fishing?
Well, apples. They were in a vat. We were bobbing for apples.
Okay.
And he was, and then we started talking about because he said that he thought maybe you were into bobbing too.
So you and Charles. Let me get this. You and Charles were bobbing for apples. Okay, I'm just gonna write this down.
Yeah.
I just need to fact check this out.
Well, he said you were good at bobbing too. Are you good at bobbing? Do you bob?
So some guy I've never heard of thinks my name is spelled differently than D.
Well, no. What happened was we got to talking. He said, "Oh yeah, well you know Doug. Doug he's good at bobbing and stuff. Also, you know what's weird about Doug? Did you know that he spells his name with 3 G's? I said, no, he does not. And he said, he is. I swear. He said he saw your birth certificate. I said, how did you see his birth certificate? You don't even. And then, are you sure you don't know this guy, Doug? Because he's seen your birth certificate.
Okay. I don't. Let's just move on from this because this is exhausting. I don't want to talk about Charles or these apples anymore.
Okay, well, whatever the case is, I knew that your name was just
D-O-U-G,
1 G.
okay?
I knew it was just a 1 G network.
D-O-U-G. Now you know. Write it down.
Anyway,
Brent,
you go into this elaborate story, they're gonna want it. They're gonna believe you, and they're not gonna want to talk about it anymore,
Right. Well, that sounds like a premise for like a sitcom, like, storyline or like a Curb Your Enthusiasm. You create this lie that just keeps getting bigger and bigger. That you're in too deep.
Then you have to have another friend pretend to be Charles,
right?
Or something like that.
You hire someone
at one point,
Charles.
Yeah, that'd be funny. You hire someone to
like holds you to your facts. Like they need to verify everything you're saying.
Well, you know what, Doug? Why don't we
gonna do all this stuff?
This could be an episode. Why don't we do this?
Episode of Poundhouse?
Maybe this could be an episode of Poundhouse that we do. Is that we use this premise, if with the caller's permission, the sort of. I mean, we kind of came up with a lot of it too, but you use that idea as you make up a lie about the name, and then you say, "Oh yeah, my friend this," and then maybe that happens to you, and then you ask me to be the guy to corroborate the story, or something like that.
Maybe you tell me to do that, and then there's this third person that we have to like invent, and then we get some guy to play that part, or something like that. We'll talk about that later. But
Okay.
I wrote it down.
And now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp.
You're probably wondering what BetterHelp is, right, Brent?
Absolutely. What is it?
BetterHelp is online therapy.
Ooh.
You're probably wondering, what is therapy? A therapist can help you become a better problem solver, making it easier to accomplish your goals in life, no matter how big or small.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
That's what a therapist is.
Yeah, and with BetterHelp, you can find a therapist pretty easily. I've used it myself. I'm using it again for the second time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How come? What? Why? How so? What inspired you?
I have, I don't really want to be. It's kind of personal, but it's nice to have someone to talk to who's a professional to help you get through, let's say, relationship issues and things like that, or anxiety, and there's all kinds of things that a therapist can help you with. And if you're thinking about giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option.
Well, let me ask you this: how does it work?
You go to BetterHelp.com. I'll tell you this. And I'll tell you this. If you go to BetterHelp.com/Poundcast today, you'll get 10% off your first month.
Okay.
That's better, HELP.com/Poundcast.
I guess but also, how does it work?
Okay. Well, it's convenient, it's accessible, it's affordable, and it's entirely online. So you go to betterhelp.com/Poundcast and you'll find out. You'll fill out a brief survey and you'll get matched with a therapist. And I just did that today. And they matched me with a therapist, and I got it in my inbox within about an hour.
And is it true? The rumor, I heard rumors that you don't just have to do it through video; you can just do it on the phone too.
Text, video, or audio. Yeah, you have several options. Yeah.
So the rumors are true.
The rumors are true about BetterHelp. Yeah.
Wow. So you can do it. It's not just video. You can do it through the phone or texting even. Amazing. You can get therapy through texting.
Yeah. So you got nothing to lose by trying BetterHelp. I mean, it's more affordable than in-person therapy too. That's one of the rumors I've heard.
It's certainly more convenient.
It's about as convenient as it gets.
And so, okay, and that was an easy process for you to fill out the survey and get matched up with the therapist.
Convenient, about as convenient as you can get. I did it sitting right here, right on this computer that we're talking to right now.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, BetterHelp, HELP, betterhelp.com/Poundcast. Go get your 10% off your first month.
Once again, when you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/Poundcast today to get 10% off your first month.
That's one thing. Now that tour's over, we got to start talking about Pound House ASAP.
Yeah. Well, do you want to hear this last message, or should we wrap it up and then
No, let's do one more. Let's end it on another note.
Because we could just save this we could save this for the Unzipped.
Give me one more.
Hey, Poundcast, Doug and Brent. So this is Josh calling from New York City. And I'm walking down.
I'm assuming this is Josh Holcomb. I think I'm just, that's what I'm thinking. Josh Holcomb from New York City is what I'm thinking. I don't know.
And Brent. So this is Josh calling from New York City, and I'm walking down downtown Manhattan. I was trying to let you guys know what's going on over here. And so today there was a Japanese festival going on down 8th Avenue, and it was cool. Walked through a little bit, and then I saw one line that was just going for one of these little booths that they had, but the line was like all the way back. I couldn't even see how far back it went, so I had to go check it out. And when I went to go check it out, turns out it was for balls, like testicles. I guess that's a Japanese thing. I never heard of it before. Maybe you have, Brent. But yeah, my question was, would you eat the balls? Would you go for it and just dive in and have a ball or two? Maybe in a non-vegan world. I'm vegan myself, so I wouldn't. But if I wasn't vegan, I would. And then I also had a problem that I was wondering if you could solve. So I guess my whole life I've never been able to crack the code of if you wake up in the middle of the night and you have to pee, but you've got a boner, how do you do it? And I was wondering if you guys have any interesting strategies there. So yeah, let me know. I hate it so much. And I always wind up getting pee everywhere, or I have to like almost break my penis to get the pee out. So I don't know if it's too crass to answer, but maybe on the Unzipped. All right. Thank you. Bye.
We could save the boner one for Unzipped.
Yeah, this is loaded. I mean, first of all, the balls, are they the Japanese thing? There's octopus balls that they're these balls made of octopus.
I think I don't think
is he talking about.
He can't confuse that with. He's talking about testicles.
Yeah. Okay. And which animal testicles are they?
Japanese testicles dish. Let me look it up. It's probably cow.
Cow balls.
When I looked it up, it just says octopus balls. So maybe they are octopus balls, but they're not testicles.
Right.
I don't think the Japanese eat, because Brent, I will tell you, I've had Rocky Mountain oysters before, and those are testicles of bull testicles.
Oh, you have?
In doing a Google search of testicles, there's no. He might be getting that confused with the, because also around, how could there be that many testicles? You know what I'm saying? Per animal, there's 2 per animal.
Right.
So how are you going to have that many? I've had bull testicles before.
Where'd you have those?
It's not the full testicle. I think it's just they slice it and deep fry it. This was in the 90s. This was like a long time ago.
Yeah, how was it?
I'll try one. It just tasted like a batter dipped, almost like a chicken nugget with like a.
Did it have any kind of seminal taste to it?
Well, yeah, when you bite into it, there's a white cream filling. It was like it was like biting into a jelly donut or something. Like a custard.
It's cream filled, yeah.
It was a cream filled donut. No, not at all. It was just like a fleshy, gross thing. No, to answer his question, no.
Yeah, there can't possibly be. I mean, first of all, balls must be. Yeah, but okay. Here's the hypothetical, though. I think my guess is that they weren't actually testicles; that they were octopus. They were octopus balls, which are not made of testicles. But let's say they were actual cow balls. Would you not cow balls? Because cows that's the female, right?
Right.
But they were bull balls, I guess.
Bull balls.
Bull balls. Would you? Well, you've had it before, I guess. But would you eat a whole ball?
No.
I mean,
no.
If you were not
say
vegan.
I wasn't vegan. I did that once, in my 20s when I was like, almost like a gag, like a dare, like I'll take a bite. I didn't order a whole basket of them. I think I had like somebody had them and I take a bite. I don't need that. I don't need it. I'm not going to do it.
And I'm not a vegan or vegetarian, but I don't feel the need. I have no need. There is no need. There is no need. I don't, it's not that I just think, what's the point? I mean, I just don't, just to eat balls? Well, I don't care. I mean, you could also just eat a lot of things. What's the point, right? So I probably wouldn't eat the ball. No ball for me.
But you know what? If there was a dick and a ball, I'd eat the ball before the dick.
Yeah, what would I choose first, dick or balls? Or if I had to pick between the two. Mm-hmm. Ooh, God, that's a toughie. What would you? Yeah, so why would you pick a ball over the penis?
I don't know. Something about the penis is just a lot more. The imagery of it, to eat another animal's penis, is just. The ball is a little more organ-like, where the penis is just so sensual.
I mean, to me, they both seem equally undesirable to me. So
if you had to pick one,
if I absolutely had to pick one, I guess
you eat a dick.
I have no idea. I would maybe probably. I don't know.
Gun to your head,
man.
You got 5 seconds to pick.
Fine, ball. Give me the ball.
Okay.
I guess I get the ball because the only reason I say ball is because I think, okay, I just think maybe it's like a meatball or something, but even though it's not, and then because the penis, I'm thinking of a tubey kind of thing with stuff in it that's not very that's less meaty maybe or something, but I don't know. I'm probably wrong about that. I'm thinking of tubes and things and veins and tubes.
You have tongue, brain, and like lips. They're all prepared. They're not just like you're not eating them just raw. It's prepared. What are you gonna go? What's your 1, 2, 3 on that? Tongue, brain, and lips.
Well, I mean, look, tongue is pretty common, right? And people seem to like tongue. I've never had a tongue. I'm not interested. I think
I've had it in a taco before.
Yeah, you liked it.
I would do tongue first because I think I've had it before and it tastes fine.
Yeah, I would go tongue, lips, brain.
I'd probably go tongue, brain, lips.
Really? You go?
But I have to look at the brain. I got to see what the brain looks like.
But to me, lips is basically
if the brain is like green brain, like you know what I'm saying, like out of a movie. Then it's probably going to be the third choice.
Well, to me,
what if the lips are just full lips? You're just like
the lips to me is that's just meat. In fact, I might even want to. Why wouldn't you pick lips over tongue?
I feel because I've had a tongue is a muscle. It's just a big ass muscle, and that's what meat is. Like lips are more sensual. You know, that's what they kiss their partners with.
The cows kiss their
like
partners
putting a
with
lip on my lip.
I just think the lip just seems
the
like
brain.
Meat.
You're probably eating the brain. There's probably more. Maybe that's healthy.
Here's a thought: isn't the penis a muscle?
No, sir.
Okay. I think lips. I think a lips over brain because the brain just seems kind of nasty in a way. I mean,
all right. Well, that's nasty. Should we do the boner thing? You know.
Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up.
Let's
save it for the after. And
if you want to join Unzipped, go to patreon.com/Poundcast and you get access to all the Unzipped and After Dark episodes. And you'll support us because that's how the show is mainly supported. We're also supported by LouisvilleVeganFoods.com. Use the code word Poundcast for 20% off. Buy my merch. Just Google Doug Pound merch and use. It's either pimple or pimples, all capital.
I have a
discount.
And you know what? I've got something. I've got a topic. One of my topics that I had lined up. We'll use it for this.
Okay. We would like to give a big thanks to Jack Birch. He helps us out with these episodes. He helps us with the technical aspect and putting these together and putting them on YouTube and stuff like that. He does some editing for us. Check him out on social media, l.bircho. He makes funny videos there too. And thank you to Jackie Montana. She helps us out.
She also makes she makes clips too.
Absolutely. She makes clips. So thank you to those two Poundcast squad members. Couldn't do it without them. We could, but it's a big help to have them. And major shout out to Tenacious D. What a trip I've been on. I just got back yesterday. And thank you to the listeners. I hope you enjoyed my tales from the road. And anything else, Brent?
No. But
no.
I guess
okay, let's go Unzipped.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week, everyone else, if you're not going to join us Unzipped. Peace. Doug and Brent. Poundcast. Doug and Brent. Talking to each other. Doug and Brent. Talking to each other. Doug and Brent. Talk to some pimples. We'll talk to their friends. And Doug and Brent. What will they talk about today? Doug and Brent. Talking on the Poundcast. Doug and Brent.